Travel back in time to the 80s, reliving the music.
You can't have the Pretenders' first album. That's mine.
I bought it.
You did not. The catchphrases.
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
And the wannabes.
Sometimes I see him dance around the house in my underwear. Doesn't make me Madonna. Never will.
Because just like you, we're stuck in the 80s.
Can you say stuck in the 80s?
Teacher, listen to your mother. That's the master open your heart. Before it tells me, hold me up before we both fall down. Feels too big, but it's too down.
Hey, welcome to Stuck in the 80s. It's your host, Steve Spears.
And B-Rad.
And today we're going to take a rare but much overdue turn into the world of 80s television. We're going to honor a couple 80s movies that evolved into TV series. Don't worry, this shouldn't be too painful at all, should it?
Do you have pain or swelling in your testicles?
No, they're fine.
Would you like for me to take a look?
We are happy as always to proclaim that Stuck in the 80s is now a member of the CLNS Podcast Network. You can find the show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and the CLNS Media mobile app. But we're not here alone. Brad has brought a friend.
No, sir. Joining us today, long-time listener but first-time caller, a man with more television in his little finger than I have in my entire body, is my good friend Mike Pajaro.
Hi, guys. It's great to be here. Thank you so much.
Thanks for helping us out. I mean, TV has long been the Achilles heel of Stuck in the 80s.
Yeah, and as I say every time we talk about TV, I don't remember watching this show. I don't remember this show. Was this actually a television show? You're making that up.
Well, you guys were out there having dates, and I was sitting at home on the couch watching TV, so I think that was the problem.
That's revisionist history at its best.
I like this kind of revisionist history.
I will fall asleep tonight with pleasant memories of dates I never had and TV shows I never watched. Hey, before we jump into the meat of the show, no pun intended, but we wanted to mention that Stuck in the 80s is sponsored by HelloFresh, the meal delivery service that brings healthy and quick meals right to your door. I've been eating HelloFresh for about 3 months now, and it's made a big difference. I feel better. I eat better. I don't have to worry about buying a bunch of food at the grocery store that I never get to use. HelloFresh has 2 full-time dietitians on staff who make sure everything that goes to your box is balanced and healthy. I even had a doctor's appointment last week, and I know I never talk about this kind of weird stuff, but even my doctor told me that all my good numbers are up, my bad numbers are down. I told him HelloFresh was one of the differences I'd made in the last few months since I'd seen him last, and he said, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. And now you can order HelloFresh and save $30 off your first order. Just use the promo code RADICAL30. Go to HelloFresh.com, sign up, and use the code RADICAL30 when it asks for a promo code. If you have any questions, you want to know what this week's menu was or some of my favorite meals, just email me at steve@sit80s.com. So, Brad, let's talk about this week's show and why it's a little different.
Okay.
We don't normally like we've said many times, we don't normally talk a lot about television, but we had this idea over the last week that some of our favorite movies from the 80s, and we do talk about movies all the time, were later turned into TV series.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly on last week's show, and then after we were done recording, Steve and I started digging into it a little bit more. I'm like, there's a lot here. We should do some shows on this topic.
So here's how it's going to work. Mike has a show, I have a show, Brad has a show. They're all TV series that are based on movies that we most likely saw, for the first time in the 80s. We'll talk about the TV series. We'll talk about the movies that spawned them. We'll have a few laughs. Then we'll hit into our favorite seggies. So, Brad, why don't you get started? What is your show that you're repping this week?
My show, spawned from a classic 80s movie, is CBS's Fast Times.
Hi, Brad.
Huh? Oh, Linda. Hi.
Hi. Listen, I need to ask you something.
Yeah, sure, but make it quick. I'm on company time.
All right. My cousin is having this big wedding, so I thought maybe you could take me.
Me?
Uh-huh. It wouldn't be like a date or anything. You would just be my escort.
Oh.
Come on, it'll be fun. It's going to be right on the beach. There's going to be 2 live bands dancing. We'll have a good time. I personally guarantee it.
Sounds incredible. You got yourself an escort.
Great. You tell Mr. Cruising Vessel I'm really looking forward to the ride.
So this is based on, I know, surprise, the 1982 hit Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which in turn was based on Cameron Crowe's book. It was a mid-season replacement on CBS. It aired in the spring, and it lasted 7 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if it's just they only made 7, and that was just the run they planned, but it didn't get picked up for the next season, so I'm guessing the numbers weren't great on it.
Mike, did you ever see this TV show?
It rings a vague bell, but even I think I missed this one.
Yeah, it came and went before you even knew what happened. The thing that drew me to this was not the short run time, although that's, Schadenfreude is always fun, but the cast. The cast is pretty amazing. Claudia Wells, fresh off of Back to the Future, plays Linda Barrett. Courtney Thorne-Smith plays Stacey Hamilton. She of Summer School, Melrose Place, and Ally McBeal. Yeah, James Nardini as Brad Hamilton, which he actually has done a lot of work, but nothing you'd actually heard of. Wally Ward, also known as Wallace Langham, plays Mark Ratner. He went on to play David Hodges on CSI. A guy by the name of Patrick Dempsey.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, it played Mike Damone. Dean Cameron, who was Chainsaw from Summer School, was the new Jeff Spicoli. The wig is epic. I think he proves my point about a cheap wig makes a costume. And the only 2 people that really reprised their roles were Ray Walston and Vincent Schiavelli, who came back as Mr. Hand and Mr. Vargas. And why is that? Because they know if you get a job offer, you book the job.
Yeah, especially when you're Ray Walston at that age. This seems like too good of a cast to fail. What happened?
That's why I wonder if they just ordered a short run of it and then they just didn't pick it up.
Maybe it could have been too expensive. Too expensive, maybe, considering the cast? I don't know.
Maybe the cast realized they were too good for it, and they all went their separate ways.
Well, there's a certain truth to that. I mean, Brad, how many episodes of this have you seen?
I've seen 2 3/4 episodes. That's all I could find on YouTube.
How good or bad is it?
I have to say, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I was surprised. I really went into it thinking this has got to be just a stinker, and it's not bad. It's still television. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to solve the world's problems, but I think it treats it pretty. I think the scenarios they put forth are pretty realistic. And you're like, okay, yeah, that could happen, and there's this kind of a sweetness to it. I don't know.
Yeah. So I sat through one of the episodes, and I just want to know, the tone of it seemed a little more serious. It seemed like it was almost a comedy drama more so than the movie. Was that the case for the other episodes?
Yeah, I think the tone's pretty consistent. I mean, the movie is not all hilarity. I mean, girl gets an abortion.
Right.
But, I mean, that's the thing. The comments that a lot of the critics at the time said, look, they're going to have problems with this because so much of the show is, kind of sex and drugs and rock and roll, and the network isn't going to allow 2 of those 3 on the air, so they're left with a little bit less to work with.
Mike, here's a question for you. I mean, is it inherently, is it almost like a losing bet in a way to make a TV show from a movie? I mean, the only really pure, totally, wonderful example of how it's done right, in my mind, is MASH.
Well, what they're doing is, it's a easy get for the networks because they have the name recognition for a franchise, and that's what they're betting on. And for some reason, they never seem to learn their lesson. So, yeah, you can see, if you're in the 80s and Fast Times at Ridgemont High is out there and everyone's talking about it, of course you're going to race to throw that on TV.
Right. The problem with calling this a race is this was 4 years after the movie.
Okay.
So, but I think you're absolutely right, Mike. I think it's an easy elevator pitch. It's kind of, lazy in a way, but sometimes you just need something to fill the schedule. And this is a different time. The networks ruled television.
What if it came out 3 years earlier? So, when Fast Time was just kind of fading out and then they transitioned to TV, think would have done better then?
Yeah, I do, because I think the late 80s, what'd you say, Brad, 1987?
86, yeah.
I mean, I've long maintained that the second half of the 80s is a lot different than the first half.
Yeah, having nostalgia for the early 80s and the mid 80s is kind of a weird sell.
Yeah.
Like I said, the episodes are hard to find. There are a couple on YouTube. If anybody out there has copies of the rest, I'd sure like to see them over some legal means, of course. Like you could invite me over to your house to watch the recordings that you made on your VHS tape back in the day.
And, Brad can bring his meat thermometer, his
hey.
digital meat thermometer.
Hey, I'd like to show me a successful barbecuer who does not use a digital meat thermometer.
Okay, I'm just
you
saying.
can't. You can't.
But are they Wi-Fi?
And they're not rubber bands either.
You're very angry about this.
It's not Wi-Fi. So the critics for this were, I think, mixed is the kindest way to put it. Jeff Borden of the Charlotte Observer said, the hippest look at high school life since the late lamented Square Pegs a few seasons back. And Mike Duffy for the Detroit Free Press fired right back with Fast Times, we have dull pegs.
Well, it's nice to see that Square Pegs is getting the respect finally, as that it's due.
I agree.
The preeminent high school TV show of the 80s. Other than Freaks and Geeks, probably one of the best ones there ever was. So, anyway. Mike, what TV series have you brought for closer examination today?
I have a show that many of you might not remember actually was a series, Blue Thunder.
I don't remember this one at all.
No, me either.
So you definitely remember the movie with Roy Scheider.
Of course.
I love the movie.
So we all watched that. He played Frank Murphy, a troubled Vietnam vet who was called upon to test pilot the world's most advanced helicopter on loan from the military to the LAPD. And
of course.
We all knew that. It was a big summer hit, took in $42 million at the box office. For the year, it landed in 17th place overall, just ahead of Yentl, of all things.
Of course.
Cross-dressing is not quite as popular as destructive helicopters.
So ABC tried to jump on the bandwagon fairly quickly, and they tried to bring the movie to TV just 6 months later and premiered their version of Blue Thunder on January 6th, 1984, with a few changes, of course.
Oh, no.
Yes, that's always a recipe for disaster. So while the movie was very dark and gritty, the TV show, they had to make it kid-friendly. So it was light and often pretty comical. And I did not know this at first, but Roy Scheider apparently was asked to come back for the series, and he declined with an emphatic no. So
he was too busy checking his sanity with his stopwatch.
Then Gil Gerard was going to be brought on from Buck Rogers fame, and he was attached for a little bit, but then he stepped away. And then they finally settled on James Ferrantino to play the lead. And you probably know him from The Final Countdown. He played the Air Wing commander who got stranded on the island.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, gosh. There's a movie that doesn't get out much anymore.
Right. you can find it, but that's a
yeah, but it won't find you.
Yeah, but it's the rest of the cast that kind of makes this interesting. So his co-pilot is played by a young Dana Carvey in his pre-Church Lady days.
Wow.
What?
Exactly. And you can tell the show is kind of a vehicle for him because he does impressions throughout the entire series. So in the very first episode, he does his Jimmy Stewart impression.
Reminds me of Jimmy Stewart in Shenandoah. Meet you at Belle Bailey's place in a half hour.
You guys winning that one, huh? Never mind. Just let's keep going.
All right.
Okay. With a full tank of fuel, the Mohawk's rate of climb is 44.6 feet per second. That's at a normal weight of 13,040 pounds.
Now, from Mexico to here, it should lighten his fuel load by 500 pounds. Sounds like the Beverly Hills Diet, don't it?
You concentrate.
I am concentrating. All right.
And he plays... Yeah, so you can just tell they're trying to write it for him to launch his career. And I guess it worked, because a couple years later, he was on Saturday Night Live.
There you go.
Interesting.
So it's not just a helicopter, it's also a vehicle.
So he plays a computer whiz named Jaffo, Jafo. Now, in the film version, Jaffo stands for Just Another Observer. But for TV, they had to change it to Just Another Frustrated Observer.
Oh. I thought maybe he was friendly.
That just doesn't work.
Fanciful? Forlorn.
But here's where things get really good. So the rest of the cast is filled out by Dick Butkus and Bubba Smith playing former NFL players who turned federal agents who offer ground support to the helicopter in the truck dubbed Rolling Thunder.
Oh no! Oh my gosh! This is like. Did this end up being funny, or are they trying to make this funny?
So they were intentionally the comic relief. Even their character names are great. Bubba Smith plays Bubba Kelsey, and Dick Butkus plays Ski Batowski. So they're not even trying to come up.
In the movie, the guy who plays the Observer gets killed.
Yes,
in a mob style murder assassination, and this is just that's so funny.
Jeez. Well, here's the thing. I think they could have gotten rid of the helicopter completely and just made a show with Dick Butkus and Bubba Smith and have them go out on their adventures, and they would have been onto something.
Hey, this isn't a sports car.
Who's the driver, you or me?
Look, friend, we're going to be working together now, so try and keep your temper, okay?
What temper?
You got a mean streak a mile wide.
That's a bad rap that was laid on me in football.
You used to bite people.
That's a rotten lie. Look, I'm one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. You just got to get to know me, that's all.
I got to tell you that there's nothing you've said so far that doesn't make me want to watch this. I'm kind of on board.
So I want you to know, I want to do a thorough job for you guys with my research. So this week I went out and I got the Blue Thunder DVD box set and watched the entire series.
Oh my gosh.
Wow,
well, which is of course only 11 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Was that half hour or 22 minute?
It's a long 47 minutes per episode.
Oh my gosh, seriously? Wow.
But here's the thing, it sort of plays out as a parody of 80s action adventure movies because all the cliches are there. The police chief is a by-the-book sergeant who wants everything done, on the up and up. And, the lead guy is a maverick who plays by his own rules.
You forgot to file your paperwork.
Yeah, I don't know if that was new and fresh at the time, but now it's just really kind of stale and played out.
That's so funny.
Oh, jeez. And you say you bought it on DVD, but is it available anywhere else?
Can I looked around. Not in any legitimate sources.
Oh, okay. So that's
Very
cool.
good.
But I do want to talk about one thing, because you can't talk about Blue Thunder without also talking about Airwolf. And here's the thing. Blue Thunder came out on January 6th, and Airwolf came out on January 22nd of the same year.
Ooh.
And at the time, this was really
battle for air supremacy.
Exactly. Like, they really thought this was going to be a ratings battle. And in hindsight, we know that wasn't the case. Airwolf became a big hit, and Blue Thunder was relegated to the DVD bins at Walmart.
I never saw an episode.
Leader.
I've never seen an episode of Airwolf either, for that matter.
Really?
Yeah.
That should be required viewing.
That's why we need you, Mike.
So, wow, that is. I gotta admit, I'm still pretty intrigued. I still like the idea of this. I may have to try to dig around and find some illicit copies.
If you send Pajaro a self-addressed stamped envelope, he'll mail you some DVDs.
Yeah. I could make that happen.
So, in keeping with our one and done theme to this week's show, my TV series that I'll be celebrating is none other than Alien Nation.
That was the scene in California's Mojave Desert 5 years ago. Our historic first view of the newcomer's ship. Theirs was a slave ship carrying 250,000 beings bred to adapt and labor in any environment. But they've washed ashore on Earth with no way to get back to where they came from. And in the last 5 years, the newcomers have become the latest addition to the population of Los Angeles.
So you all remember the 1988 movie, right? With James Caan and Mandy Patinkin?
Of course.
Yeah.
A late 80s sci-fi movie. The storyline, a flying saucer crashes in 1990, I think is the date, in the Mojave Desert. The aliens on board are called, Technonites? Newcomers. By humans. They have a few other less happy names that they're called by the residents of L.A. Spongeheads, being slags. Yeah. After a brief period of quarantine, the aliens are basically allowed to enter society and the workforce of L.A. They are, of course, greeted with the L.A. welcome of racism, bigotry, probably police violence, and fears about immigration. Any themes that we're going through our real life today or not? So basically, the TV show actually starts the year after the movie. So 1989, Fox, which was then a pretty brand new network.
Brand new,
launches Alien Nation. And it basically picks up the storyline right from where the movie left off, which is that you got this grizzled police detective, now played by Gary Graham.
Does he buy the book?
No, he's reluctantly paired with a newcomer. In this case, it's Eric Pierpont. In the movie, his character is Sam Francisco.
Clever.
Because the storyline being that the immigration authorities were kind of getting loopy after having to name, 250,000 aliens.
So they started cracking out the puns. Oh man!
Right. So during the course of the TV show, you see there's a
your Earth name is Flounder.
Yes.
Your Earth name is Pinto.
You get the janitor in the police station is a newcomer. His name is Albert Einstein. There's a character, Wyatt Earp. There's Betsy Ross. There's Buster Keaton, Silas Marner.
Oh no!
This is my favorite. Kenny Bunkport. Norman Conquest. May Onays and Paul Bearer.
John Big Booty.
So did the writers just sit around one night really late and just get all drunk and just come up with these names?
I hope so.
It was probably cocaine.
It's brilliant. So the TV show runs for a season. It runs for the full 22 episodes, 23 episodes. And it does pretty well. People are actually liking it. But the network kills it anyway at the end of the season. They were having issues with ad revenues. It was a brand new network. It wasn't as financially successful off the bat as they thought it would be, and they didn't have the money.
Yeah, they didn't have room for any anything that wasn't making money. It's like we can't have this is our thoughtful piece. That we that shows our depth. It's like no, we're in this for the cash.
TV Guide in 2013 would later list that Alien Nation on its list of 60 TV shows that were canceled too soon. But like the rest of our shows that we've talked about today, there were some significant differences. I mean, the plot line remains the same, but the original movie was very noir, very gritty, very dark, very violent. The TV show is more like Lethal Weapon. There's a lot of comedy, not always intentional. Much more focused on the newcomer's family life. The son is a bit of a project and he's gotten in trouble with the police, and the poor daughter just wants to get along with the other kids in her elementary school. I mean, it really it's not so much a police drama as it is.
I don't think I ever watched this, but it sounds like they kind of did what Star Trek used to do with aliens, is use it to here's a way we can talk about racism and those kind of issues without actually bringing in the primary players. Right. Is that an accurate description?
Yeah. The nice thing about it is you can still see all the episodes on YouTube. They're all there.
Oh, nice.
Including there was a 2-hour movie that kind of kicks it off that sort of fills in the gaps from the movie to the TV show. And if you didn't see the movie, that's fine. You're not going to lose anything. It's going to retell you the whole story anyway. The one thing that's really bizarre, though, when you watch the TV series, it's like I said earlier, racism is a big part of it. They drop the N-word a lot in this TV show.
Interesting.
A lot. The first time it happened, I've been rewatching this series for the last few days. And I think the first time it happened, it was 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And I went, oh, and I texted Brad. I'm
you texted me immediately. Yeah, you texted me immediately.
I was really shaken. And then in the next 2 hours, I heard it 5 more times. I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy.
Anyway, it's all there. I think it's really good. It even though it was canceled, it became a comic book. They started some sci-fi novels about it. And then later in the 90s, they turned it into 5 different made-for-TV movies.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. I remember when they came on. They were super popular. And this is about the time when I'm out of college now, so I do have time to watch TV. So I do remember seeing all these shows on for the first time. And I remember seeing a few of the TV movies, which helped wrap up all the open storylines from the TV series. Because even when they finished that first season of Alien Nation, it ended on a cliffhanger. Nobody thought they were going to shut the doors. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's a really good show. Definitely check it out on YouTube. I am telling you, it ages very, very well.
Well, Steve, I just have to say, I think this is a great choice for a show. You mentioned MASH as being a good example of TV doing a movie right, and I think Alien Nation is a great example of that. If you go back and look at the movie, if you take out the fact that there are aliens there, you could pretty much keep the movie exactly the same, and all the plots and the characters would work out the same, but they really don't get into the alien lifestyle as much as as you mentioned. But it's a TV show that really gets into that a little deeper. And you mentioned, the son is is a bit of a troublemaker. Well, they explore that, why is he a troublemaker? Well, because he feels like he's a minority and he's having trouble at school and all those kind of things. They explore gender issues where, the alien father is the one who carries the baby. And, it's kind of done for a comedic effect, but at the same time, they're asking questions. Well, if you women knew what it was like to carry a baby, maybe you'd be more sensitive. And especially in today, it rings more true than ever. So I think it's very much an underrated series.
Yeah, it goes into religion because the aliens don't all share the same religion. Some of them are more Eastern in philosophy than others. It goes into family relationships between father, daughter, uncles, the whole nine yards. It is a lot deeper. It didn't need to be as funny as it was, but back then it's like you got to offer something for everyone.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it walked that line pretty well. Keeping the comedy to keep people coming back. Because you don't want to be just hit over the head with racist stories every week. So you lighten it up a little bit, but you're still basically teaching a lesson without people realizing they're being taught a lesson.
But what's funny too is for a TV show that otherwise is so family friendly, I guarantee you somebody dies in every episode. Wow. Somebody gets shot. At least one person dies in every episode, which is shocking to me because you're watching it and it's like, it's a little joke about my crazy uncle who, this or that. And the next thing you know, bang, a policeman's dead. It's a little uneven in that respect.
Well, they get away with it because are they mostly nameless characters that are being killed off as opposed to right? So that's how they can sort of.
Last night, a cop got killed out on patrol by blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, or right. No, but you see it though. I mean, it's like Star Trek in the sense that whoever's the guest star in this week's episode is probably going to die.
It's like Hawaii Five-0.
Yeah, it's like, my old friend from college. My old friend from college is now in this episode. I guess he's going to get shot at the end of the show, and he does.
Oh no, they've been kidnapped. Oh, they're dead.
They're dead. So yeah, and the nice thing, not the nice thing, but the fair aspect of it is that most of the storylines revolve around corruption to some degree, and but it's handed out evenly between like corrupt aliens, corrupt humans, corrupt police people. It's like it's not pile driving any one storyline over and over again. I mean, the whole point is, there's corruption everywhere, and these people are all going to have to find a way to get together and deal with it. So,
well, that's a nice message. The whole world is corrupt. That's good to know.
Yes, that is. But you know what is not corrupt? The Seggies. Yes, time to play America's favorite new game show. I want my mystery TV theme song, which I believe is actually the first time I said it completely right the first time. So I want some credit.
It.
So you know how it goes. We play a snippet of a theme song from a TV series in the 80s. Seems kind of appropriate for this week's episode. And if you get it right, you're entered into a drawing for some swag. Here's the good news for this week's episode. Mike has volunteered to sacrifice his DVD series, Blue Thunder, to this week's winner.
Maybe we'll have to give them one more viewing just before I let them go.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. There may not be a huge outcry for that particular swag. Can I have the bottle opener instead? Right. But you never know.
Can I have a bottle opener that never gets mailed instead?
Yeah. Well, you can use the DVDs as a bottle opener.
Oh, there you go. Problem solved.
Boom.
Pay attention. Here's the clip from the last show. That, of course, is the song Then Came You from the TV show Webster.
Then came you. You made me leap without taking a look. Ooh, it was you. Then came you. You hit me right in like cigarette.
Did you get that, Mike? Did you recognize that song?
I did.
Okay. I would not.
I was not a big Webster fan, but it comes up a lot when I'm watching YouTube, and I have all my old theme songs from the '80s clips, and so it comes up in that from time to time.
Somebody called it Different Strokes Light. I don't know if that's
is that good or bad?
I don't know. I'm going to say it's bad. Then Came You, performed by Steve Nelson and Gail Lapata-Lennon, both uncredited. Brad, read some of this week's wieners.
Winners this week include Sweet Lou Grilly, Scott the Bowtie Man, Nick in the Hoosier State, Dave Augie August in Pointer Rocks, Maryland, Kanakan Cali, Alan in Clarksville, Tennessee, Jay Swash in Beaver Creek, Tom Korn in Austria, Peter Ryan. Good grief. This was too easy, Steve. Tim and Toadsuck, DJ in Clinton, your main benevolent 80s overlord, Ron Raymond Jr., Callie Wolf, Donnie Gettle rhymes with metal, and Brock in North Dakota.
Brad, spin the wheel. Let's find out who won the swag.
You mean there's not a real wheel? I was hoping to see a big wheel in his living room.
And looks like it's going to land on Callie Wolf. Okay, excellent. Send us your snail mail address at podcast@sit80s.com, and we'll get something on your way. In the meantime, pay attention. We're letting Mike pick this week's clip. Here it is. If you know it, email us at podcast@sit80s.com. And tune in next week to find out if you're a wiener.
Wiener.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I can't believe it. Don't you ever quit? I've been away a long time, and my roommate's still going strong.
Renewsic Roommate Air Freshener with twice the freshening liquid so it freshens air longer than Magic Mushroom.
Long-lasting roommate.
And we're back, and we have just a few minutes left. I thought, let's play a little game we call What's Your 80s Obsession? Brad, what's your 80s obsession this week?
Well, I'm kind of going to have to ask for a variance because it's really more of a 70s obsession.
Okay.
But I am obsessed with yacht rock.
Oh.
What is that?
Last summer, SiriusXM had a temporary channel that was the Yacht Rock channel, and they brought it back recently, and I can't stop listening to it. I'm getting so far behind on all my podcasts. But it's like all the late 70s, a little bit of early 80s, kind of soft rock, a lot of Seals and Croft, 10cc,
Dan Fogelberg,
England Dan, and John Ford Coley. Yeah, some Fogelberg, a lot of Michael McDonald, whether he's singing with the Doobies or as a guest vocalist and stuff. And it's all this stuff that I don't know any of the... It's kind of from the era when I was listening to the radio a lot as a kid, and I don't know any of the song names or the band names, but I know every freaking song.
Huh.
So
and what channel
I've been really enjoying
What channel?
It moved to channel 13 on SiriusXM. Yeah.
Excellent.
But yeah, so, you could probably take it for about a week, and then you'd be like, okay, I'm back to my 80s stuff. But I've been really listening to it a lot.
Cool. So, Mike, what's your 80s obsession this week?
Well, besides sitting through an entire season of Blue Thunder, which is a task in itself. My 80s obsession this week is The Last Breakfast Club. It's a live stage production, a musical parody of The Breakfast Club. And some friends of mine went to it this week, and they said it was a lot of fun, a really good time. So I need to get some tickets and go see that.
That's cool.
It's playing out here in Los Angeles.
Oh, awesome.
Interesting. My 80s obsession, I know this is a bit of a cheat. It's the TV show Alien Nation. I literally I'm only like a quarter of the way through that season that I started watching. I'm going to finish Alien Nation before this week is up. That is my goal. I might finish it before tonight is up, the way I'm going.
Wow.
I am that addicted to this. You know how I am with TV shows. I'll watch West Wing on endless repeat for 7 months straight. But for some reason right now, Alien Nation is the one I just can't quit. So
let me ask you when you're binge watching things. So when I was going through my Blue Thunder, the more I watched it, the better I thought it got. And I don't know if it was because the writing improved or I just became so numb to it that I started, just being
like
more appreciative
Stockholm
of it.
Syndrome.
Something like that. So maybe Alien Nation is a quality show that stands on its own. But, that's a problem with binge watching.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you know the characters better. They're more developed as each episode goes on. I mean, at least if a show gets worse as you're watching it, that's not a good sign at all. Hey, special thanks to those of you out there who wrote us an email this week and expressed your own sympathy for Vavavoom Julie Nelson, who passed away a couple weeks ago. As we're recording this podcast today, I know Ed is having a memorial party, celebration for her out in California. And Brad and I were nice enough. We sent them like 30 bags of Funyuns for the party.
I don't know if that's nice enough, but we did it.
It's a stuck in the 80s touch, I think.
I think you're right.
Anyone who knows the podcast well knows that's the favorite snack food of Stuck in the 80s. Again, if you're liking what you're hearing, if you're enjoying the shows, please remember to go to iTunes and write a review. Please support us by going to HelloFresh, taking a look at it. If you sign up, use the promo code Radical30. In the meantime, Mike, thank you so much for finally getting us on track with some TV episodes.
It was my pleasure. This was a lot of fun. I think you guys are both great.
Cool. Well, we can't wait to have you back and talk more TV. In the meantime, myself, Mike, and all those newcomers, we remain here hopelessly stuck in the 80s.
Stuck in the 80s is a member of the CLNS Media Network. Special thanks to Check Battery Daily for our theme music. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or the CLNS Media mobile app.